There we go. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our really fun interview experience that we're doing on our YouTube channel right now. We were supposed to do it over on our TikTok account, but we ran into some issues with our TikTok account. Nonetheless, I'm so excited to have Courtney on with me here. Courtney, do you want to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and then we'll just have a really fun conversation on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, my name is Courtney, and I am a high-level leadership consultant, which has been like a huge morphine kind of full circle thing that we can chat about that's finally come together. But my number one value is freedom. And so really helping women live that true life of freedom, but by doing it by actually becoming the CEO of their business.
Okay, whoa, I'm so here because you've done so many different things. What got you into this work that you're doing right now?
I have a corporate background in HR. And so my undergrad and my undergrad's in HR, my master's is in organizational leadership. And I noticed like all of the other things I was doing in my business, but people were always coming to me about HR and leadership questions. And all of my high ticket sales that I've had have been for HR packages, which have just been like really natural. Like I have an idea, I share it with someone and someone's like, can you make me a package and sell me this? And so I'm like, why am I pushing the boulder uphill?
Yeah. Okay. And so what is the work that you're doing with your clients right now? Like describe to me what that looks like, because I'm fascinated by this.
So most people are start a business based on their passion. So they're basically what you would call a technician. And no matter what you do, you're a technician. Like you're devoted to the work that you do. So you are a coach that started a business, or you are a hairstylist that started a business. You're not a business person who then started your business. And so you're hoping that your passion will fuel you forward. And then you're like, oh, wait, I need to hire someone. I have no idea how to do that. Oh, I hire all these people. They're terrible. It's their fault. Or people don't know about the legal requirements that you have for your business with record keeping when you start to bring on people. And I did that for 17 years in corporate America. Like I know it like the back of my hand.
Wow.
So it's a lot of helping you protect your empire you build. The more money you make, the more likely it is you're going to get sued. And that's just a fact. I'm not saying it to, but I want to help you protect what you created. So if you got sued, you could go to court and say, no, actually, I didn't discriminate against this person. I have all the documentation to show you why I fired them.
Well, let's get right into team, because I know some of my audience members, they might be looking to hire a team. I made that post about it. You and I were chatting in the DMs about what I see a lot of people do is over hire way early on. I know many people that have this massive team and they're teaching business coaching online, but they're barely breaking even, which just, that doesn't make sense to me. And so what do you recommend for clients in terms of their first hire? What do you recommend for them?
I recommend you outsource your life before you outsource your business, because the reason that you are hiring is to buy time. Well, you can buy time in so many ways. I don't think you should hire a team member until you have a house cleaner, a lawn person, until you're getting your groceries delivered, until your life feels really simplistic because you've hired out all of those things. You can have someone come do your laundry. You can have someone come do your meal prep, because those are the things that are easy and it gives you really low key practice in delegating. They're not in your business. And so you're seeing, can I let go of things? Do I know how to tell people how to do things correctly in a really low stakes manner?
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, those are the things that I outsourced in my life immediately. We have all of our meal prep done. Someone's cleaning our house right now. We have a driver, like everything that was taking up my time. Like cooking is just right now not one of my passions, not something that fulfills me, but I want to eat healthy. I don't want to eat like crap. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to outsource those things. That I just think that that's so big, especially when you have more cash flow coming in. It's like, if your zone of genius is selling, but you're spending most of your time doing XYZ in your life, let's find a way to get you selling, because you actually need money coming into the business. When people are hiring someone for their business, let's say they outsource, they have the nanny, they have the help at the house, whatever it is, what do you usually see as the first hire within the actual business itself?
Usually like a VA, admin tasks are the easiest things to let go of. People are scared, and rightly so, to let go of money making activities, which that's the final thing that you're going to want to let go of to really step into your CEO role. But you need to be making multi 6, 7, 8 figures to like get ready to be letting go of those roles. But a VA, eventually an OB, graphic designer, just those really admin-y tasks that are taking up your time. I recommend that everyone over this next week, I want you to make a list of everything you do throughout the day in your house and your business, and then rate everything on the list on a scale of 1 to 10. Anything that's a 3 or below is what you need to get rid of first.
Oh my gosh, Courtney, I love this so much. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that activity. Why don't people let go of things? Like, I feel like that's the obvious answer, know the answer, but like, why do people not want to let go of things?
Fear of control. They're convinced they can do it better, afraid to spend the money. They have tried and they have team trauma. It didn't go well. Yeah. Team trauma is very real. People also view hires in a small business the wrong way. So maybe they hired someone who was their right-hand person and they did so much for them. And then that person decides to leave and they're so traumatized because they're like, how could you do this to me? But it's business. You can't look at it that way. You have to look at it. Are they going to an opportunity that's better for them? Like, that's amazing for them. I know it's hard for your business, but there's a lot of personalization in small businesses and we can't do that.
Yeah. I've done so many different types of hires, like one-off, and by so many, I mean 3. Tens of hundreds, 3
thousands.
Yeah. It's been interesting. I've had people do one-off tasks, like their zone of genius. They're excellent with, let's say, funnels or whatever, repurposing content from one platform to another. And then I've had people do, a variety of different tasks and where they really know the whole business. What do you find? And obviously all ways work, right? Like it's not like one way is the best way, but what do you find is the best way to hire someone? Is it specialist, zone of genius, they're perfect in customer service or whatever, or sales calls? Or is it more of someone who can handle a couple different things and they're more like in different parts of the business?
So I would say in the beginning, hire like an everything Evelyn, because you can't afford to hire a bunch of specialists. And so, but find someone who's good at a lot of things, but really specializes in the thing you hate. So say maybe you really hate tech and you hate funnels and like that's the thing, or maybe your podcast is your like thing that you love doing, but you hate getting it out there and hate producing it. So find a VA that specializes in the like 1 or 2 things that are really difficult for you, but they can still do all the admin stuff. And then as your business grows, you can start to plug people in and you could then promote that person. So say you hire everything Evelyn and she's really great at everything, but she's amazing at sales. So then you can make her head of sales eventually because she knows your whole business. And then you would get someone in customer service and then you would get, and as you grow, you start to plug people in.
Yeah. I love the everything Evelyn. I love that. How do you recommend people create systems and communicate with this, let's say their first team member ever?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How do you suggest they create systems and communicate with this first team member that they've ever had?
So you should have SOPs before you hire. If you don't have any SOPs in place, it's hard because you are literally training them from the ground up. So say you made your list and you have your things and you're like, okay, I know my 5 things I want to outsource. Before you hire someone, you need to have a training plan in process to bring them on board, which includes SOPs, and includes like Loom videos and things like that. You should have some kind of probably daily communication in the beginning. Hopefully it can move to more of like a weekly commute. Like you shouldn't have to talk to your team members every day because that's creating a really codependent relationship. But in the beginning, for at least the first 90 days to 6 months, you probably are going to have to talk to them every day. And it can be short and brief. Honestly, most of the time, you're the problem, not your team member. You're not being clear in your communication. You're not delegating properly. The definition of delegation is done. So what does that thing look like done? The thing that I hear people say is, can you make this graphic? I want it to feel really vibey and airy and just feel really good and light. And you know my vibe. No, they don't know your vibe. Like, what is the definition of done? And if they're a graphic designer, like, you can give them your brand colors and examples, but also know if you don't give them exactly what you want, it's going to take multiple times.
Yeah. It's really sheds light on your inability or ability to communicate with people. That's been one of the most interesting things I've learned about myself with working with different team members is, oh, there are some areas to clean up here. And I love what you said. And I was listening to someone's podcast recently about team and leading people. And they were like, it's like 9 times out of 10, it's never the team member. It's always the CEO or the leader or the manager. And I completely agree with that. Whenever there's an issue coming up, even if the team member has gone buck wild, off the rails, done something completely wrong, I'm like, which has never happened, but where did I go wrong in this? Where can I take ownership of this? And it's just so much more empowering that way, because then you can control it. Something that has worked really well is what you're saying, the SOPs. So my first team member, Courtney, I hired way too early on. I like hit a 10K month and I was like, ooh, I need a team member, got this everything Evelyn. And it was a disaster because I didn't come up with any SOPs before. I had a very vague idea of the things I wanted her to do, but like it lasted like a week. I was like, that was ridiculous that I did that. I ended up really refining my business. And over the last 2 years, I have focused on systemizing everything and also automating. And every sort of season, I find, Courtney, that there are more things that could either be removed from the business completely, that are total waste of time for myself or my team, or things that could just be automated more. Like it could just be streamlined so much more. So are there any things that business owners can look out for that they could systematize or they could automate inside of their business that are front of mind?
I mean, all of your like email stuff and newsletter stuff, all your podcast stuff can be automated. A lot of your group stuff can be automated. Even a lot of your like selling, it can be more automated through emails and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it differentiates for every business because some people want to be out in center and selling more. Some people like to sell behind the scenes through blogs and writing. But doing things like you should be taking your podcast and making 5 pieces of content from your podcast. You shouldn't be doing that, but you should have someone do a blog from it. They should do a newsletter from it. They should create social media content from it. They can create a reel from it. They could create a TikTok from it. They could put a Pinterest. And that can all be automated and systematized. And you have an SOP of exactly how to do that. And that gets done every week on repeat.
Yeah. There are certain things that I have loved in terms of creating systems and SOPs for, and then there are other things where I'm like, this is too much. As an example, in 2021, very different business model then, different type of person. It was very much so in the beginning, but I created this entire content SOP. It was a nightmare. It was like on Tuesdays, we post content that's polarizing. On Wednesday, it's educational. And it just put me so much in a box. And I find a lot of people, when it comes to systems, SOPs, whatever, they put so many SOPs in place that it's like, this is awful. So how do you, how does one go about knowing their personality, like knowing how they are as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a mentor, and then create systems that work for them?
Try them. because someone else might love having a content system like that,
Yeah.
which in a way, like that could work really great or be a fail. But if you were out of town, if you had to travel for a month and you pre-created a ton of content before and you had to be offline and your team had that system of knowing what to post, when to post, like that gives them a process of like knowing exactly what to post, when to post. When you're doing it off the cuff, like it's probably not going to feel inspiring. You're going to feel demotivated and that lack of creativity. But in your absence, that stuff works really great. And so knowing that there's a time and a season for all of those different things, you know?
Yeah, I totally get that. Something that we had initiated last year was batching all emails and batching all of our membership delivery. So once it's the start of the month, all emails are batched, all membership delivery is batched, and I don't touch it for the rest of the month. But again, that's a system that I have to stick to. I think that's one of the biggest things is, okay, you can create these systems and create these SOPs, but then you have to stick to them. Anything tips around that of like, because I'll see people go and ClickUp or Notion or Asana, and they'll create that huge SOP, but then they don't actually follow through on it, and it just becomes like a graveyard.
You do have to follow your SOPs if you want a team and you want to get free in your business. And I know a lot of people will say, well, I don't love it right now, but you'll love it when you don't have to be part of it anymore. And so it's kind of that in-between phase. And I think the problem is a lot of people, you can scale your business to 6 figures, multi-7 figures, possibly 7 figures by yourself. You cannot go past 7 figures by yourself, or you'll be like burned out in the ground. And so these systems are to help you create a 7, 8, 9 figure business. So how could you fall in love with systems because they're designed to help you make more money?
Yeah, it's like the foundation that sets you free. It just gives you, I love what you said. You said it's setting you free. You use the word free there. It's giving you that structure so you can go fly. And then when you are flying and you're doing your thing, you're not, like I live in Mexico. When I go to the beach, I go to the beach and I'm present at the beach with my family. My boyfriend's family visited this weekend. It's not like I'm sitting on the beach thinking, oh my God, I have to send out the email and the post and the thing and the podcast. It's like, no, because the systems are there, they're operating, they're doing the business for me. So I can literally be free, like physically leave. But also I think the biggest piece is that mental piece component of like actually detaching from the day-to-day work.
Or you could be speaking on a stage in front of 10,000 people, sharing your vision, being the actual visionary of your business, bringing in more money, while your team knows exactly what to do when people are signing up in the background. So like it's both, it gives you the freedom to go take off time and go to the beach, to travel, to unplug, but it also gives you the freedom to be more creative.
Have you supported people when they're selling from stage?
I have not.
I love it. Like I haven't either, but I geek out on people selling from stage and things like that. I go to Funnel Hacking Live every year. I'll be there this year. And then we have our conference coming up next year. So like, those are things that I'm going to be nerding out on at different conferences this year and studying them, because I'm like, I just think it's the coolest thing ever. But you're right. Your team has to know what to do. And I think this kind of goes back to what you were talking about in the beginning of like, don't assume that they know what to do.
They don't.
Yeah. And there's so many other little nuances. Something that I have found that helps a lot is no matter what position my team member is in, whether they're an everything Evelyn, which I totally love your name, that avatar. Like they're everything Evelyn, or they're like the specialist Sally, or whatever it is. I have found giving them all training on sales has been so helpful, because even there are little nuances for responding to an email that some people, they just don't understand that. Yes, you're doing customer service, but this is a business and you're selling. You're always selling. You're always selling them on the brand. And so there are little nuances down to how to respond to a DM, how to respond in our Facebook group. And so that was something I picked up on very quickly of, oh, I don't just need to be teaching or creating SOPs. I also need to be giving information on sales. And that's something I see a lot of people do, Courtney, is they hire this website designer or graphic designer or whoever, video editor, who knows nothing about sales or buyer psychology, but yet they're handing over their marketing materials. And that's like, anyone watching this, that's just something that I'm like, you have to look out for this.
So I would say that's like that's kind of nuanced, because so say they don't know anything. You don't want to give someone like a marketing sales job if they don't know anything about sales. But when you hire someone who's obsessed with your brand, not obsessed in a way that like puts you on a pedestal or is weird or wants to become a coach, but when you ask them, what do you do in your free time? What do you value in your life? What's important to you? Like, you don't want to hire, if you are a health and fitness coach, someone who hates working out. And when you do that and you hire those people, they know how to sell intuitively because they're obsessed with your message and your mission, and they feel like they have a purpose. And yes, you can train them on the nuanced ways that you speak and give them your brand voice and help them become and give them tips and tricks and stuff like that. But if you think about it, Starbucks doesn't go give people sales training, but think about how many people show their Starbucks on their social media.
I love that. And
because they're obsessed with Starbucks.
It's so true. I love what you said about if you're hiring someone on your team, make sure that they love the actual industry that you're in. My best team member ever was someone that she knows the industry. She's not in the industry anymore, but she's known the community. She's been with me forever. She knows how I speak. She knows how I sell. She's gone through all of my sales trainings. Like, it was just a game changer. I realized, and she's also very passionate about the work that we do, just as much as I am, which I just think that's amazing.
Yeah. So like, if your brand is about living authentically, hire people who are living their lives authentically or striving to live more authentically. If your brand is about freedom, do they love to travel? Do they live a life of freedom? If your brand is about food, like, don't hire someone who eats unhealthy when you're those are the things that you want to ask in the interview beyond the technical questions, because you can train on admin-y stuff. You can't train someone to value the things that your company values. And do you know what you value? Because almost every 7-figure earner I've worked with, the first thing we've sat down and I've said, what are your top 5 values? They don't know. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, you can't ask them in interview questions. Wow. And you also can't let them guide you.
Yeah. I love this. My audience is going to love this so much. So I know that we're almost at time here. How can my audience learn about working with you? What do you have going on? Give us the spiel on what's going on in Courtney's world.
Yeah, so you can find me at the Wandering Manifester, and you can book a totally free CEO audit with me, so we can sit down and chat and talk about, are you running your business like a CEO or are you running your business like a technician? I also am finalizing them right now, but I will have some templates for sale. So a SOP template that you can fill out, a performance review template, and I want to tell everyone, even if people on your team are contractors, you should still be doing performance reviews with them, because a lot of contractors will ask for a raise. If you're not performance reviewing them, how do you know if their increased prices are worth it? I have a coaching documentation template, because if you have a conversation and you don't write it down, it didn't happen. And then I'll also have an interview guide template.
Oh my God. This is like, you are there's so much good juice and everything in here. Is your Instagram handle the best to put in the show notes?
Yeah. Yep. You can find me there and you can send me a DM. You can book, my Calendly link is there to book your free 30-minute call. And we can really chat about like, what's the best next steps? And if you're wanting to hire someone, I will be super honest. Like, is it time for you to hire? What who should you be hiring now? And then I'm actually going to be launching like a mini mind called the Spacious CEO, where I'm helping people learn how to have more white space on their calendar while stepping into that CEO role.
Courtney, I just love what you're doing. I love how blunt you are and just like, you're like, y'all need to get it together. Like, what are you doing? So, and you know, my audience are all building multi-6-figure, multi-7-figure businesses. So they're going to get so much value out of this. And if you're watching this, I'll have the link in the show notes here to go connect with Courtney on Instagram, whether it's booking that. I would just book that free session with her immediately, audit your business, have a look, have her yell at you, tell you like it is. And then just thank you for coming on, Courtney. This was amazing.
Yeah, it was really fun. And I want people to understand that hiring people is the greatest gift and the greatest responsibility. And people need to stop taking it quite so lightly, because you can literally, I know through our businesses, we can change people's life, but think about how much you change people's life when you give them their dream job.
That was the perfect moment to end on.
So,
mic drop. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on, Courtney. Glad we could still do this on YouTube, even though it was on TikTok. I felt it always works out.
It does.
Cool. Well, thank you, Courtney, and I'll talk to you soon.
Of course.